Hello, good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So let's begin with our question as
Okay, madam.
yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Which here the questions are: which of the following taxonomy category contain organisms less similar to one another? Now, in this case, we know that in biological classification with respect to taxonomy, we have studied like there are different groups. The organisms which are closely related to one another, yes, which are closely related to one another and which can mate among themselves, they constitute what is known as species. So if we take that this is species, this is genus, here from I can start with like kingdom, phylum or division, class, order, family, genus, and last one will be species. So we can see that the species are the ones which are closely related. Then many species, they constitute one genus, which are closely resemble to one another. Many genus which are having resemblance with among themselves, they are put under a particular family. In this way, we go up to kingdom. As from the kingdom, if we come down to the level of species, we find the similarity increases and the number decreases. While if we go from the species back to the kingdom, we find the similarities they decrease, but the number of individuals they increase, right, in this way. So which of the following taxonomic category contains organisms which are least similar? Here in this question they are asking least similar, that means which are not very similar to one another, that means which are near to the kingdom. That will be the answer. That here kingdom is not present, but if we see class is given, so class will be the correct answer for this question, because species
Yes.
are closely resemble to one another. Many species will form genus, that means the individuals of the genus, they are similar but not like that of the individuals or the members belonging to the same species. Similarly, the families, the individual belonging to the same family will be similar, but the similarity will be less as compared to the individual belonging to the same genus or species. In this way, if we see the order class, in class we will find the individuals belonging to the same class will be similar, but that similarity will be much lesser than that if you compare the similarity of the individual belonging to the same order, family, genus or species. So distantly related, not closely, distantly related will be class over here in this option. Got my point?
Sir, got it.
Yes. Next question, we just note it down. So moving on to the next question. Identify the correct order of the organism of genetic material from largest to smallest. From the largest, then we have to go to the smallest. So if we see from largest to smallest, inside, suppose if I take a cell, like say this is a cell, inside the cell what is present is a nucleus, and here it is the nucleolus. And if I just take the genetic material over here with this particular color, this is yellow, the entire thing represent what is known as genome. This genetic material, the entire genetic content of the cell, especially if this is a haploid cell, because genome refers to the array of gene present in the chromosome of haploid cell. Because if we consider diploid cell, that is going to be the same thing is going to come in double. So this is what is known as the genome. And if we see how this entire genome is being packed, this is present in form of nucleoprotein, which is known as chromatin. Now this chromatin during cell division, it will condense to form chromosomes. This will form, they will form chromosome. And this chromosome gradually will divide by during the S phase to form chromatids, that is chromatin to chromatid, and then it will, the chromosome, this is single chromatid chromosome, it will be dividing to form double chromatid chromosome. So the first thing what we get is the genome. पहले सबसे कौन सा चीज आएगा? Genome, this one. And then definitely, as I can see, that it will be chromosome. Then yes, if we think about the chromosome, what is present inside the chromosome, can you tell me? The thing which is present inside the chromosome is the genetic material. This is the DNA.
Okay.
Right. Now if we analyze the chemical nature of this DNA, we find that this DNA is made up of nucleotides. And this nucleotide, it is consisting of three parts. One is the phosphate, then the second one is the sugar, and the third one is the base. Right? Now this nucleotide from here, if we just remove this phosphate, the thing which will be present, which will include the sugar and nitrogen base, is known as nucleoside. Like this. So now it is the time to analyze this question that पहले तो जीनोम दोनों में है, क्रोमोसोम भी है, उसके बाद डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे कहाँ पे चला गया? न्यूक्लियोटाइड में. लेकिन what is the thing is like the chromosome is having the genes, right? क्रोमोसोम में, क्रोमोसोम के अंदर क्या है? डीएनए है. और डीएनए को हम क्या कहते हैं? डीएनए आर द blueprint of our life. They are going to carry the information. This information, they are acting as a gene because they are having the hereditary material. They are acting as a hereditary material because they are having the genetic information. And the chemical structure is known as DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. So the DNA which is present, it acts as a gene. So ye jo hai, this is the gene. Now inside the gene we find nucleotide, and this nucleotide will be containing nucleoside because nucleoside plus phosphate is the nucleotide. तो यहाँ पे gene है, that is correct. Yes, gene is correct. But यहाँ पे directly nucleotide में चले गए. They have directly gone to nucleotide, skipping the gene, and they have given the gene later. तो कौन पहले आएगा? Gene. Gene कौन सा चीज से बना हुआ है? जीन यानी कि उसका जो केमिकल नेचर है वो डीएनए है, और डीएनए कौन सा चीज से बना हुआ है? न्यूक्लियोटाइड. उसका मतलब है जीन, और जीन को अगर टूटा जाए, मतलब सिंपल किया जाए, तो हम देखेंगे कि न्यूक्लियोटाइड से वो बना हुआ है. दैट मीन्स इफ वी लुक इनटू द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ जीन, वी विल फाइंड दैट दे आर मेड अप ऑफ न्यूक्लियोटाइड. बट हियर इट इज जस्ट द ऑपोजिट. जीन, न्यूक्लियोटाइड यहाँ पे आएगा और जीन आएगा यहाँ पे. तो ये पहले और सेकंड वाला सिमिलर है, फिर भी यहाँ पे कुछ चेंजेस हो गया, इसलिए ये ऑप्शन नहीं होगा. द राइट आंसर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन विल बी ऑप्शन नंबर 1. देख लो. हेलो,
Yes, sir.
क्लियर? पहले क्या होगा? व्हाट विल बी द थिंग ओवर हियर? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, न्यूक्लियस. दिस इज द न्यूक्लियस. Nucleus, inside the nucleus what is
Yes,
present?
sir.
Genome. That means the entire DNA content.
Genome.
Entire DNA content, which is having the information. What information? Hereditary information. And that is why it is called gene. तो जीनोम के अंदर, inside the genome is made up of genes, and genes are packed within chromosomes. So chromosome is present, chromosome is having the gene, and genes are made up of nucleotides. So here genome, chromosome, gene, chromosome, that means condensed genome is the chromosome, because when it is not condensed, it is the chromatin. When the chromatin is condensed during cell division, it forms the chromosome. So condensed chromosome is the genome. The condensed chromatin is the chromosome, which is basically the genome is in expanded condition. Uncondensed condition is the chromatin. When it becomes condensed, it is yes, it becomes a chromosome, and this chromosome will be having the DNA, because it is having information, genetic information, so it is having genes, and genes are having nucleotides. So that is why the first option is correct. Clear? Now here it is given, like in the ecology, we know that Alexander Humboldt, he was a person who gave an equation. This graph, that is species richness by area. Now this is what the theory was like. As in ecology, as he analyzed that as individual will move ahead, covering certain distance of the area, or what we can say that a particular plot, exploring a particular plot. Under such condition, more the exploration is there, more will be species diversity. More area is covered, species diversity यानी कि richness increased हो जाएगा. It will increase the species richness. You can see like this. जितना एरिया इंक्रीज होगा, उतना ही स्पीशीज का मतलब स्पीशीज रिचनेस बढ़ जाएगा. लेकिन ये बढ़ते बढ़ते एक समय आएगा, इट विल रीच अ पर्टिकुलर टाइम when area more, even after covering more area, the species diversity yani ki richness, it is not increasing. It has increased to a optimum level, not more, it will increase. So this can be measured with the help of, he has given an equation like, yes, S equals to E into A to the power Z, like this. This is an equation which has been given by Alexander Humboldt, that is S equals to C into A to the power A to the power Z. So this can be calculated with the help of, in a log scale, that is log S equals to log C plus log Z into A plus Z log A. So Z log A. Right. So in the log scale, this is the equation, and it has been mentioned over here, that is A is 4, Z is 0.3, something, C is 0.8, and it can be calculated now. Can you find it out? What will be the value?
Okay, sir.
So log S will be, just do the calculation. 0.3 into 4, how much? Then that you add 0.8 and tell me.
The answer will be 2, 0.8 plus 1.2.
Yes.
That is
So
2.
0.8 plus,
1.2.
so answer is going to be 2.
2.
So which option will be correct for this question?
Option 4.
Got it. So in this question, we have to remember it is being calculated. This equation, did you understand? S equals to C into
Yes,
it
sir.
to the power Z. And here in the log scale, if we just, in the log scale, it can be represented in this way. That is log S equals to log C plus Z log A. And then only we have to put the value to get this answer. Next, moving on to Acha. From class 11, T.O. Diner discovered a new infectious agent and have the following character. Listen to the character of the infectious agent. It causes potato spindle tuber disease. It has free RNA. Free RNA. So they are talking about virus without the coat. When we are talking about virus without coat, it is known as
Thyroid.
viroid or viroid. Free RNA. The molecular weight of the RNA is low. Protein coat is absent. It is smaller than virus. Smaller than virus because the coat is missing, and this coat is protein capsid which will misfold to form prions. The mad cow disease. Yes, the Jacobian disease. So here what we see is that
Okay.
virus, it will not be the answer because it is having the capsid also. Viroids, viron matlab it is having the coat, so viroids will be the answer, right?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to the next question.
Yes, sir.
This is present in the initial part of your NCERT, that is after the classification where virus, virion and prions are present. The Jacobian disease, then mad cow disease, and this thyroid virions, capsomers, capsid, those portion you can. Curly top virus spreads through a plant via, this is a virus from the same portion. Curly top virus spreads through a plant via phloem, xylem, pericycle or pith.
One.
Hmm? Uh-huh.
Phloem.
Phloem will be the answer. Because you see the phloem, why phloem? Because xylem is going to carry water from the root to the top of the leaves of the plant. So virus generally when it attacks the plant, it is going to attack the leaf, different parts of the plant. As it will be doing so, it is present in the plant upper part of the plant. So when the food is being prepared in the leaf and translocated to different parts of the plant, the material, that is a virus which is also present, infected the plant already from before, it should also come along with food to get distributed within the plant. That is why it cannot be xylem, it will be phloem. Next question. Move ahead. Shall I move ahead?
Yes, sir, you can.
Increase in growth per unit time is called, per unit time, increase in
Growth
growth.
rate.
Yes. That is generally unit time. If increase in growth which is taking place, it is arithmetic growth, and It is generally representing as the growth rate. Exponential growth is something like geometric growth. It is not the same growth is not there per unit time, but when it is said unit time, a uniform growth, a constant growth is there. That means the growth rate is constant, and here it is not mentioned anything like arithmetic growth or constant growth, so it is a growth rate. Yes, have to match. Parthenocarpic fruit. Let's start from the middle. We know parthenocarpy. What is that? When without fertilization, the fruit is formed. Application of auxine will help in such case. Like parthenocarpic fruit is obtained from grapes, right? Single-seeded fruit developing from monocarpillary superior ovary. Mm, yes, it will be single-seeded fruit. Yes, which is originating from the monocarpillary ovary. It will be mango because inside the mango only one seed is present, and a number of carpel, that is, it is originating from a monocarpillary superior ovary. That means the carpels are, or the pistils or the carpels, whatever you say, it is single pistil. It is originating from the single pistil, and it is superior, the ovary is superior. Well, the first one, coleorhiza, which is present in the radicle, and the food storing tissue, it is known as endosperm. So, third one, it is going with 1. Fourth one, it is going with 2. So, the answer will be option 4. Right. Okay. Coleorhiza is a protective covering of the root, while coleoptile, in case of only monocots, while coleoptile is a protective sheath over the plumule. And we very well know it is endosperm which will be storing food for the developing zygote. And only this portion we need to remember, that mango, in case of mango, mango originate from monocarpillary. That means the ovary is having only one, the ovary of the carpel which is only having only one, that is, it is a single ovary. It is not syncarpus, it is monocarpillary. That means a single carpel. From there, the fruit is originating, though it is a dicot seed, but how many seeds are present? Only one per fruit. So it is mango. And grapes, it is parthenocarpic, because sometimes the grapes are formed directly from ovary without fertilization by application of auxine. Okay. This is from classification. The group of fungi has more species, all species, than all the vertebrate species combined. Yes, not from classification, from biodiversity. The group of fungi has more species than all the vertebrate species combined. This is a statement, and yes, it is correct statement, because fungi is much more in number if we combine all the species of vertebrates, that is animals belonging to vertebrates. Then what the result which will be formed, the group of fungi has more species. It will not be able to, still it will not be able to match fungi, because fungi are more in number. Species diversity on earth is not uniformly distributed. That is also correct, because if we think about the species diversity, In the earth, some of the species of fishes are more somewhere, somewhere it is less. Similarly for insects, similarly for other organisms. So both the statements are correct. Right? Next question. See the question. Hmm. In Krebs cycle, how many oxidation? 19. In Krebs cycle, how many oxidation, that is dehydrogenation, occurs? Yes. How many dehydrogenation occurs?
3 for NADH, 1 for FADH2.
3 for NADH and 1 for FADH2. So only for one Krebs cycle it will be 4, right? 3 NADH is formed. So 3 dehydrogenation, NADH is converted into, basically NAD plus is converted into NAD, and FAD plus is getting converted into FADH2. So 3 plus 1, the right answer will be, so option 1. Clear?
Clear.
Yes. Cyclosporin, has become very common because we are doing this question since last few weeks. Facing this question, cyclosporin is an immunosuppressant which suppress our immunity. Why? Why it is required? Because suppose a person have taken an organ transplant, and the immune system inside the body is going to reject something foreign. The organ is coming from someone other. So it has a high chance, because it is not of his own body, the MHC, that is the glycoproteins or the glycocalyx, is going to not match with the organ taken from other person. For that reason, the immune cells, especially the B cells and the antibodies, are going to reject. But it never happens if cyclosporin is given and it is obtained from Trichoderma polysporum. While aspergillus is responsible for acetic acid, Saccharomyces is a yeast responsible for fermentation, and alcohol is formed Bacillus thuringiensis. It is a very important bacteria which is going to contribute gene for producing Bt cotton. The right answer will be option first. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Next, moving on to next week. Which of the following characteristics represent inheritance of blood group in human? Now, in case of inheritance of the blood group, we know that if we take the genetics of it, I did before also, let me take it up once more. IAIO. Showing multiple alleles. Yes. How many alleles are present? 3 alleles are present. So it is showing a case of multiple allelism. Now, along with that, here it is showing another phenomenon, codominance. Along with that, here it is showing dominance. So, how many genetic proforma, how many genetic processes, characteristics are being represented by blood group? Can you tell me? It is showing dominance. So, I'm writing D for here, right? It is showing codominance. दोनों ही expressed हो रहा है. A का भी expression आ रहा है B का भी, when both A and B dominant genes are present. So it is showing codominance. And you can see it is having 3 alleles. It is multiple allelism. Now we have to choose dominance, codominance, multiple allele, incomplete dominance or polygenic inheritance नहीं होगा. So ABC will be the correct answer for this question. So answer will be option 2.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to question number 102. Exponential growth occurs when there is exponential growth occurs when there is no environmental resistance, limited resources, a fixed carrying capacity, asexual reproduction only. No. That means exponential growth is like a J-shaped growth curve, you know. You have taken bacteria in a petri dish, given the culture requisition, and you are continuously adding the nutrients so that the cells are not getting deprived of any of the raw materials they need for their growth. So what will be the pattern of the growth? They will be growing in this way. Yes, this is known as exponential growth. Otherwise, they would have been showing this type of growth like ये क्यों आया? Because यहाँ पे growth रुक गया, खाना नहीं मिल रहा है, ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिल रहा है क्योंकि वो खत्म हो गया. मीडियम में जितना था, which was present initially in the medium, it has been consumed. But in this case, it is being supplied and it is not allowed. That means the content inside the medium is not allowed to get uh, uh, exploited. That means even if it is getting used up, it is being given from outside. So for this, there will be no environmental resistance, not only limitation of food, which is one of the environmental resistance, along with calamities, unwanted environmental unfavorable conditions. This should also not be allowed. Only under such conditions, exponential यानी कि J-shaped growth curve will be obtained. So the right answer for this question is going to be no environmental limitation resistance.
Yes.
Moving on to the next question.
Yes, sir.
Many of the cells of the epiblema. Epiblema, what is that? It is the epidermis of the root. It is rhizodermis or epiblema. Protrude in form of, yes, they are asking about this thing. This is the epidermis और ये जो protrusion तुम देख रहे हो, this is the root hair. So it is unicellular also क्योंकि ये many of the cells of the epiblema, बताया नहीं रूट का या स्टेम का, लेकिन बता दिया. ये कैसे बोला? epiblema. What is epiblema? The epidermis of the root. The term is epiblema. So root, it is mentioned. So therefore it is unicellular, but in case of stem it would be multicellular. Since it will be unicellular, the answer for this question will be the 1. Many of the cells of the epiblema, you will be searching for whether they are talking about the epidermis of the root or epidermis of the stem. They haven't mentioned, but yes, they have mentioned. Why? Because they told epiblema. And what is epiblema? I have told you, it is the epidermis of the root. So the root word from the epiblema is clear to us, and therefore we also know it is unicellular for absorbing water. It will be easy. So the answer for this question will be unicellular root here. Here.
Yes, sir.
Next question. C4 pathway. Yes, it is agriculturally more productive pathway. Whatever the pathway is, C3 is common, we know, and it is found mainly in case of monocots. So it is advantageous. Why? Why? Because photorespiration never takes place over here. It can have the better tolerance to high temperature, and there is a PEP case instead of Rubisco, which is responsible for primary carboxylation. Along with that, they have drought resistance capacity, they have Kranz anatomy. Keeping all this information in the mind, let us move into the question. Occurs in relatively low carbon dioxide concentration. It doesn't requires much more carbon dioxide. Requirement of CO2 is also less. Uses more amount of water. No, less amount of water can suffice the process. Occurs in relatively low oxygen concentration. Yes, this is one of the most important. Occurs in relatively low oxygen concentration, because oxygen concentration if is more, then there is a chance that Rubisco is going to behave in a dual manner, is less efficient in energy utilization. No, it is more efficient. So occurs in relatively low oxygen concentration. Why? Because Kranz anatomy is present. Occurs in relatively low carbon dioxide concentration, that is okay, but carbon dioxide concentration is normal. It doesn't require much carbon dioxide, but it doesn't, like, if the carbon dioxide is very low, then the pathway will be operating better. It's not nothing like such type. But uses more amount of water. No, it uses moderate amount of water because they can tolerate water resistance. So this is also not correct. Occurs in relatively low oxygen concentration. Yes, this will be the correct option. 1 minute. Occurs in relatively low oxygen concentration. No, not relatively. That means environment, even it should not be having low oxygen concentration. Even if the oxygen concentration in the environment may be more, but inside it has a system that oxygen cannot reach the Rubisco. It requires less amount of carbon dioxide, because in case of a C3 plant, in case of C3 plant, carbon dioxide will have to compete for the active site. Carbon dioxide has to compete for the active site. Carbon dioxide has to compete for the active site with oxygen. But in case of this C4 plant, there is no such competition, because oxygen will not be able to, because Rubisco is present in the bundle sheath cell. So it is not going to compete with oxygen, because oxygen cannot reach up to there. If
Okay.
oxygen tries to reach by the mesophyll cell, it will be utilized. And moreover, it is transported, the carbon dioxide is transported in form of, that is phosphoenol pyruvate, that will be converted into malate, oxaloacetate, and then to malate. In this form, the carbon dioxide will be made available to Rubisco. So it is occurring in relatively low carbon dioxide concentration, and that is why it is more advantageous. While in case of C3 plant, CO2 concentration requirement would have been much more, because oxygen, there is no such internal mechanism of Kranz anatomy or something to escape the oxygen. So oxygen will enter into the cell, and they have there is a chance that oxygen can bind with Rubisco. So to avoid the oxygen contact and switching on to photorespiration, in case of C3 plant, carbon dioxide concentration is always required much more than C4 plant. While in case of C4 plant, concentration of carbon dioxide is much less required because there is no such competition of oxygen with it. Why? Because it has Crane's anatomy, and that plays a very important role. Along with that, they have that thing, that is rubisco is present inside, not in the mesophyll cells, in the bundle sheath cells, while in the mesophyll cell peptidase is present. So the right answer for this question is option 1. It's
Okay, sir.
yes. Question number 105. Question number 105. Which of the following statement is correct regarding replication? So if we just take a diagram, this is 3 prime, this is 5 prime, 5 prime, and this is here. In this, we know the primer is going to come over here, 5 prime, this is 3 prime, and the RNA which will be getting synthesized, they will go in this. And while on the other hand, the suppose it has opened up to here, the primer will be coming over here, and it will be covering about 1000 nucleotides, approximately 1000 nucleotides, and this will be regulated by some, it can be a random process, or the primer has the sensitivity, or you can say the time sensors, or it has the that is, it can sense the nucleotides, that is number of nucleotides it has to put. So on that basis, the primer comes over here, it randomly polymerize this in this direction, that is 3 prime, this will be 5 to 3 prime, because this is 3 prime, this is 5 prime. So DNA replication is taking place in the 5 prime to 3 prime. Always it will take place in 5 prime to 3 prime. Okay, in this direction. So in one strand there will be continuous synthesis, while in another strand small Okazaki fragments will be formed. Here what we see, the primer is present over here, it will continuously, how far it will open, it will be continuously synthesizing. But here what will happen, it cannot come and prime over here, because 3 prime will be free, that is 5 prime will be free, because 5 prime against the 3 prime, 5 prime will be free, and on the 5 prime the nucleotide of the DNA which will come, it will be 3 prime. So 3 prime to 5 prime replication cannot happen, because DNA polymerase 3 requires OH group of the 3 prime to catalyze, begin its catalysis. And moreover, we know the primer is highly sensitive to, that means it can sense time, it can sense the number of nucleotide it has to produce, it has to put over here, or it can make it in a random manner. So if we see, DNA replication occurs in the M phase. Which of the following statement is correct regarding replication? Yes, DNA replication occurs in the M phase. Do you go with this point? In the cell cycle, you have studied where DNA replication takes place. M phase or S phase?
S phase.
So the first statement is wrong. The polarity of the DNA template on which continuous strand is formed is 5 prime to 3 prime. Continuous strand, this one is the continuous strand. Continuously it is getting synthesized, so it is known as the leading strand. This is leading strand. The polarity of the DNA template on which the leading strand, continuous strand, is formed is 5 prime to 3 prime. No, it is 3 prime to 5 prime. So it is also wrong. DNA dependent DNA polymerase catalyze polymerization. Yes, the polymerization is being catalyzed by DNA polymerase on the DNA strand, that is, which is running in 5' to 3' direction. So this option is correct. The discontinuous synthesized fragments are later joined by DNA lyase or ligase. Lyases, we know that they are going to add group to the double bond, or they are going to remove group to make double bond. So the right answer for this question is option 3. Okay.
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 Yes.
Okay.
Question number next. Now this is a question from morphology. Here what they have asked. Refer to the given figure and find out the correct statement. Differentiation and maturation of the cells can be observed in part C. Now here it is not the differentiating zone, it is the meristematic zone which is going to show cell division. Differentiation तो यहाँ पे होना है, that is in the permanent region. So differentiation and maturation of the cells can be observed in part C. ये गलत है. Part B protects the tender apex of the root. Part B protects the tender apex. No, part B is the root hair and it is not the root cap. So how can it protect the tender apex of the root? It is also wrong. Part A mainly helps in absorption of water. Absorption of water is done by root hair, not by the elongation zone. So it is wrong. Thimble-like structure is present in part C. It is the root cap. Root cap is thimble-like structure present in part C. So this thimble-like structure यानी कि root cap के बात कर रहे हैं. Root cap is present in part C. ये correct है. सारी गलत इसके अलावा. ठीक है. Right? ये समझ में
Okay.
आया. ठीक है. Question number 107. Rudolf Virchow modified the hypothesis of Schleiden and Schwann to give cell theory a final shape. So, what do you think? This is correct? Yes. उन्होंने ही तो कहा ना, that is the cell
Yes, sir.
originates from the pre-existing. Yes, it is. Second one, the cell theory proposed by Schleiden and Schwann does not explain how new cells were formed. Cell theory proposed by Schleiden and ये भी सही है. How new cells are formed उन्होंने नहीं बताया. उस समय तो रुडोल्फ वर्चो आके बताया कि दैट इज ओमनी सेल हाँ ओमनी सेल्यूली ई सेल्यूली, यानी कि जो सेल्स है वो प्री एग्जिस्टिंग सेल से तैयार होके आया है. तो दोनों ही स्टेटमेंट सही है ना, तो ऑप्शन 1 होगा. कौन सा ऑप्शन होगा? 1 होगा.
Option 1.
इजी है ये क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन नंबर नेक्स्ट. फिर इकोलॉजी से यानी कि एनवायरनमेंट से कुछ क्वेश्चन दिया है. Tillman found that given below choose the correct option. हम लोग को सही चुनना. Tillman found that increased diversity contributes to higher productivity. Increased diversity contributes to higher productivity. हाँ, तो ये तो सही है, क्योंकि देखो डाइवर्सिटी अगर ज़्यादा हो जाएगा तो उस सारे के सारे प्लांट्स या एनिमल से हम लोगों को कुछ ना कुछ तो मिलेगा प्रोडक्ट्स. या और अदर चीज, और यही टिलमैन ने बताया था, ये सही है। Stable community should show much variation in productivity. Stable community should not show much variation in productivity. अगर स्टेबल हो गया तो वेरिएशन इतना प्रोडक्टिविटी में क्यों आएगा? स्टेबल होने से प्रोडक्टिविटी जो प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं उसमें वेरिएशन कम आना चाहिए, तो ये सेकंड स्टेटमेंट गलत है। Steeler sea cow became extinct from Africa. ये सही है। एक एक टेरेस्ट्रियल काउ जैसा नहीं, अगर तुम गूगल में सर्च करोगे स्टीलर सी काउ नाम से तो वो उसका तस्वीर आ जाए, वो अब एक्सटिंक्ट हो गया। तो ये सही ऑप्शन है, ये भी है और ये भी है। रिवर प्रॉपर हाइपोथेसिस इज यूज्ड बाय इकोलॉजिस्ट पॉल अर्लिक। रिवर yes, not by Paul Ehrlich. No. It is river popper hypothesis is used by ecologist Paul. No, it is not correct. The scientist का name change हो गया. Constant and uniform environment condition promotes niche specialization and lead to greater species diversity. Constant and uniform environmental condition promotes niche specialization and leads to greater species diversity. No, so the right answer will be A and C. No, एक मिनट, ए सी नहीं होगा। स्टीलर सी का एक्सटिंग, नो, अफ्रीका से एक्सटिंग नहीं हुआ, वो अमेरिका का एक कंट्री से एक्सटिंक्ट हुआ, सो ये नहीं होगा। एक मिनट, रिवर प्रॉपर पॉल अर्लिक, हाँ, और कांस्टेंट यूनिफॉर्म एनवायरनमेंट कंडीशन promotes niche specialization and lead to greater species diversity. Species diversity ज़्यादा हो जाएगा in case that if the niche that is environmental condition is constant, uniform होगा, constant होगा, हाँ ये भी सही है। So it will be like this one, A, D and B. Just see this statement based question है, माने it is given, some statements are given, we have to find out which is correct.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now next is question number 9. A researcher studies the breakdown of fat fat for energy. He observes that fatty acids are first converted into acetyl-CoA before entering the Krebs cycle. Yes, acetyl-CoA. While glycerol is converted into PGALD or PGAL, at which stage do fatty acid enters the respiratory pathway? हाँ, तो कौन सा स्टेज में रेस्पिरेटरी पाथवे में वो एंटर करेगा? हम लोग अगर फैटी एसिड हो, फैट एनर्जी, ही ऑब्जर्व दैट फैटी एसिड आर फर्स्ट, यानी कि फैटी एसिड पहले किस में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा? एसिटाइल कोए,
Yes, sir.
एसिटाइल कोए में ब्रेक हो जाएगा बाय द प्रोसेस नोन एज बीटा ऑक्सीडेशन। और जो ग्लिसरॉल है, it will first get converted into PGALD and then From PGLD, it will get converted into acetyl-CoA. And then, yes, it will get converted into acetyl-CoA. From PGLD, it will या PGLD हो या DHAP में इंटर करेगा, और DHAP डायरेक्टली तो एसिटाइल कोइन में बदल नहीं जाएगा. It will first it will get entered into glycolysis. First of all, glycerol will get converted into PGLD, and PGLD will enter into glycolysis, and glycolysis, in the process of glycolysis, pyruvate will be formed. You can understand phosphoglyceraldehyde. So it is glyceraldehyde. That means glycerol is present. So it will get converted into glyceraldehyde, then enter glycolysis, form pyruvate, and from the pyruvate, by decarboxylation and dehydrogenation, it will change to form acetyl-CoA. So the right answer for this question is acetyl-CoA, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What happens over here in the respiratory, that is in the chapter respiration, in the last page, you can find that how the glucose they are breaking, how protein they are breaking. Even for the proteins, there are some proteins which will be breaking up to the acetyl-CoA. They are breaking into, with the help of GOGAT system, glycerol, that is glutamate. Glutamate by transamination, deamination, can give rise to a compound which is a part of Krebs cycle or glycolysis. Sometimes by decarboxylation, deamination, they can give rise to products which are intermediate of glycolysis or Krebs cycle. So whenever it enters, that is for fatty acid, because the question has been framed only for fatty acid, and the question how they enters into the respiratory pathway, that is glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain. Fatty acid will break into glycerol and fatty acid, that is fat will be breaking into glycerol and fatty acid. First of all, the glycerol, fatty acid which is formed, will undergo beta peroxidation, and therefore acetyl-CoA will be formed, and this is an intermediate which will enter into the Krebs cycle. But in case of glycerol, which is the alcohol, it cannot directly enter. It will give rise to PGALD, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. And this PGLD or DHAP will enter into glycolysis. From the glycolysis, pyruvate will be formed, and from there, acetyl-CoA will be formed. Again, this way, that is, PGLD will ultimately not in form of PGL, it will get into the, that is Krebs cycle in form of acetyl-CoA. So the right answer will be acetyl-CoA, because before converted into acetyl-CoA before entering the Krebs cycle, while glycerol is converted into PGLD. At what stage do fatty acid enter? तो सिर्फ फैटी एसिड के बारे में पूछा गया है, टू फैटी एसिड एंटर. अगर ग्लिसरॉल के बारे में पूछा गया होता तो इट वुड बी PGLD, because glycerol, it is getting converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate or dihydroxyacetone phosphate. So जैसे glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, so glycerol will get converted and enter into the respiratory pathway in form of PGLD. But सिर्फ fatty acid के बारे में पूछा, at which stage do fatty acid enter? So it will be acetyl-CoA. Now did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Understood, sir.
Oik. Which of the following structure given in the diagram allow leaf blade to flutter in the wind? हाँ, leaf blade यानी कि ये जो lamina है, it will be fluttering. Which of the structure? Obviously, the B will be the structure because the petiole, which is the leaf stalk.
Yes.
Petiole is the leaf stalk, which will help it to flutter. So, which of the following structure given diagram allow the leaf blade to flutter in the wind will be option B. Okay. Removal of introns and joining of the exon in a definite order during transcription, that is during RNA processing, is called splicing. Introns are the non-functional part of the RNA, even the DNA, and the exons are the coding sequence. In case of splicing, the RNA in eukaryote, they are having both exon and intron, which have been transcribed from the DNA. So exons are joined together, introns are removed. So in this way, the thing happens. So the right answer will be option 4. Next question.
Okay.
There are statements. It absorbs water and minerals from the soil. It stores reserve food materials. It provides anchorage to the plant parts. Absorb water and minerals from the soil. It stores reserve food materials. It provides anchorage to the plant parts. Synthesize plant growth regulators. Root hair, root stem, axillary bud. So it absorbs water and minerals from the soil. Root hair do so. Though mineral absorption is done by zone of elongation also, but root hair is responsible for the first function. Stores reserve food materials. It has leucoplast. It provides anchorage to the plant parts and synthesize plant growth regulators. Now for the fourth point, the root hair do not synthesize plant growth regulators. It is the all over root, because the root tip yani ki apex of the root, they produces auxin, and that synthesizes plant growth regulators. Auxin is a plant growth regulator and root apex makes it, not the root hair. So the right answer will be root. It is a tricky question because first option by which you can understand that it will be root hair, and if you go and tick the root hair, the answer will be wrong because you have to go all the options and find that root hair do not produce any hormone. They are writing that plant growth regulators, that is hormones. Root as a whole, at the because root hair, permanent region, elongation zone, and the root tip, all together they constitute the root. And hormone secretion is not the function of root hair, like absorption of water and minerals, which is also being, minerals are also absorbed in the zone of elongation. That means it, which is a part of the root. Stores reserve food material. रूट हेयर का तो काम है एब्जॉर्प्शन एंड एंकरेज ऑल्सो, लेकिन जो स्टोरेज वाला पार्ट है that is inside the leucoplast, it is mainly stored in the permanent region, not totally the function of root hair. Permanent region जो है, it is going to store it up in their vacuoles. So all these functions are not totally for the root hair. It is attributed with different regions of the root, and that is why the answer for this question is not going to be the root hair, it is going to be the root as a whole. Clear?
Good.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Next is not correct. Stem develops from the plumule of a spore. Okay. Seed develops from the plumule of a spore. Stem bears node and internodes. The region of stem where leaves are borne are called the region of the stem where leaves are borne are called internodes or nodes. This is wrong. Not internodes. It will be nodes. The stem bears terminal or axillary bud. So the right answer for this question,
Option 3.
stem bears node and internodes. Question number 113 will be option 3. There should be a little correction. The stem develops from the plumule of spore. No. Plumule of the seed. That means after seed germination, there will be formation. The embryo which is present, it will be showing germination. And it will give rise to plumule at the top and radicle below. So it will be embryo, not the spore. So correction is there. Stem develops from the plumule of developing embryo. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question because there is some printing mistake. It will be developing embryo. Question number 14 we are moving on to 140. River Popper hypothesis. This is for Paul Ehrlich. What was this hypothesis about? They are talking about plane. Yes, Uran Jahaj. What happens if you just take the rivet popper? Rivet means the pin, and the pins are present which attaches the structures inside the plane. You can take up any pin of your seat, of any other place inside the plane. That will be harmful, but not to that extent if you take the rivet which is attaching the wings of the plane to its body, because that is going to make plane crash. So similarly, the plane has been compared with the ecosystem, and the rivet which is attaching the wings to the body of the plane is the keystone species. That is the species on which many other living organism depends, and their biodiversity also. If you cut that particular species, say for it's a big tree where many different types of organisms are making their habitat, like crow, like many beetles, monkeys. If you cut that tree, not only that tree, many other species will also go away. So that is the rivet. It is attaching the wings of the plane. So this was a theory, and it was given by Paul Ehrlich. Question number 15 we will move on to. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
In the Hatch-Lack pathway, it is straight away C4 pathway. The primary carbon dioxide, primary CO2 acceptor is Pepcase, phosphoenol pyruvate. Pepcase is the enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate carboxylase. It is going to join, it is going to attach the carbon dioxide in form of HCO3 minus and catalyze the first carboxylation process, resulting in formation of oxaloacetate. So right answer will be phosphoenol pyruvate.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Question number 116 will be in split gene. That means exon introns are present. the coding sequence जो code करता है, which is going to code for proteins, which is going to code for enzymes. They are the exons, they are not the introns. So right straight away the answer is going to be exon.
Okay.
Now in this disease, Klinefelter syndrome, where we find XXY in case of male. मेल में कितने क्रोमोसोम होना चाहिए? 6 क्रोमोसोम, X and Y, जहाँ पे 2 X और एक Y आ गया. So in this what we find, there is formation, there is presence of 2 X chromosome and how many Y chromosome? Only one Y chromosome. So physical and mental development is retarded. Here in this, what are the symptoms of this? That is, if this thing happens, physical and mental development is retarded. No, nothing such like physical mental development. Such an individual has development of breast. हाँ ये तो सही है, गायनेकोमास्टिया हो जाता है. That means in this there is development of breast in Klinefelter syndrome. Along with that, this disorder was first described by Langdon. No, Klinefelter syndrome. No, it was not discovered by Langdon. The affected individual is short stature. Affected individual is short stature. No, such individuals are sterile. ये भी correct है. Second one is correct, and this such individuals are sterile. So B and E is correct. Right.
Okay.
Cyclic and non-cyclic flow chart of electron is used in plants to meet ATP demand of Kelvin cycle, produce excess NAD. Cyclic and non-cyclic, balance ATP and NADPH ratio in chloroplast, 1 and 3 only.
1 and 3 only.
Balance ATP and NADPH ratio in chloroplast. Yes, 1 and 3. Question number 19. Question number 119. S phase DNA synthesis will take place. G2 phase protein synthesis, inactive phase. Inactive phase, so quiescent stage is the inactive phase. G1 phase, DNA synthesis occurs in the S phase. G2 phase takes place after G1 takes place after cytokinesis, and G2 is the protein synthesis. So G2B is going with 1. So the right answer will be option 3. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Question 20. Lactobacillus mediated conversion of milk to curd occurs. Mediated conversion of milk to curd occurs due to coagulation and partial digestion of milk fat. No, not fat, protein. Coagulation and partial digestion of milk protein. Casinogen, milk protein. Coagulation of milk protein and complete digestion of milk fat. And coagulation of milk protein and complete digestion of milk protein. No, only coagulation and partial digestion of milk protein. Yes, coagulation and partial digestion of milk protein. So what they do is that they convert the casinogen, which is a milk protein, with the help of calcium. They convert them into calcium paracasinate, and therefore they get coagulated. And this coagulated protein can undergo better digestion, especially in case of infants. So they have renin initially. Pepsin is present, it comes later, that also helps in digestion of that particular substance, that is casinogen of the milk. Lactobacillus bacilli, they helps to secrete lactic acid, which converts the milk protein casinogen to casein. With the help of calcium, they gets converted into calcium paracasinate. So coagulation of the milk protein will take place along with its partial digestion. This is important, not complete. Yeah, याद रखो, ये सिर्फ partial digestion, not complete digestion. ठीक है?
ठीक है.
So the
Okay.
option 2 will be the right answer. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Which of the following growth regulator initiates sprouting of potato tuber? यानी कि potato tuber से जो निकल के आते हैं जो eyes of the potato, that is the bud, who is responsible for that? Ethylene. It is a hormone which is responsible for multitasking agent. It is not only ripening of the fruit by respiratory climactic, it helps in apical hook formation in case of dicot plant. Wherever it gets obstruction, it will form apical hook like this. It also helps in elongation of the nodes and internodes in deep water rice plant. It is also responsible for sprouting of the potato tubers. It is responsible for breaking of the seed dormancy and flowering in some plants. So this is ethylene will be the right answer, that regulates, initiates sprouting of potato tubers. Sprouting of potato tubers. Now this is not being allowed by auxine. It prevents. So which one helps in sprouting of potato tuber? The one which is responsible for sprouting of the potato tuber is ethylene, right?
What test?
Yes, sir.
Question number 122. फिर से statement based question में आ गया. Mitochondria helps in oxidative phosphorylation. एकदम ठीक. Mitochondria have a diameter of 0.2 to 1.9. In this case, we can see that both the statements are, now this data, it is there in the NCERT, you have to remember. So both are correct. Both the statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Okay? So it is from 0.2. So some of the data, what we note is that some of the data we have to remember, like in case of milk to curd, from milk to curd conversion by lactobacillus is done by coagulation of milk protein and partial digestion. Again, some question we have done before, I think, like sprouting is promoted by ethylene. So this is one of the function of ethylene. How does it do? It is not there in our course syllabus, but we have to remember the function, especially with respect to ethylene, because ethylene do many functions. Even the ethylene, if it is not present in available in natural form, do you know that any artificial form of ethylene which is available in the market? You have studied it in the book. Artificial form of ethylene available in the market is ethyphone. Branch developed from root, leaf, एक्सिलरी बॉडी, ये बहुत इजी क्वेश्चन है, तुम बोलो क्या होगा।
Auxiliary bond.
हाँ, क्योंकि देखो ये अगर पूछा गया लीफ डेवलप्स फ्रॉम, तो क्या लिखते।
Clean.
एपिकल बर्ड, लीव्स
Okay.
एपिकल। तो ठीक है, ये इजी क्वेश्चन है, तो चलो आगे। फ्रॉम द स्टेटमेंट गिवन बिलो चूज द करेक्ट आंसर। इट इज अ फाइनल फेज ऑफ प्रोफेज 1। ओके, प्रोफेज 1 का फाइनल फेज है, यानी कि लेप्टोटीन, जाइगोटीन, पैकाइटीन, डिप्लोटीन, डायकाइन
Yes, sir.
टर्मिनलाइजेशन ऑफ। हाँ, कुछ स्टेटमेंट्स दिया हुआ है, ये नया ट्रेंड है मतलब क्वेश्चन करने का, तो इससे हम लोगों को परिचित होना चाहिए। इट इज द फाइनल फेज ऑफ प्रोफेज 1, डायकाइनेसिस, टर्मिनलाइजेशन ऑफ काइज्मा ऑकर्स। हाँ, वहां पे भी होता है, वहां पे ही होता है। फुल्ली कंडेंस क्रोमोसोम्स, क्या, हाँ, फुल्ली कंडेंस क्रोमोसोम्स, यानी कि क्रोमोसोम जो है पूरा कंडेंस्ड हो गया, क्योंकि वो अब प्रोफेज से निकल के मेटाफेज में जाने वाले। वहां पे ही तो देख हम लोग पूरा स्ट्रक्चर्स अच्छी तरह से समझ सकेंगे क्रोमोसोम का, वो मॉर्फोलॉजी जो होता है कैसे दिखने में है। या स्पिंडल इज असेंबल्ड, या जो स्पिंडल है दैट इज असेंबल्ड हो गया, यानी कि स्पिंडल फाइबर्स आर रेडी नाउ, दे हैव असेंबल्ड टू गिव राइज टू स्पिंडल, दैट इज स्पिंडल इज असेंबल्ड, यानी कि स्पिंडल फाइबर फॉर्मेशन हो गया, क्रोमोसोमल स्पिंडल, ताकि अब ये क्रोमोसोम जाके अटैच्ड हो सके, क्योंकि उसको अलाइन करना है खुद को मेटाफिजिक प्लेट में। ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है। न्यूक्लियोलस एंड न्यूक्लियर मेम्ब्रेन ब्रेक्स डाउन, तो ये सारे के सारे स्टेज डायकाइनेसिस को इंडिकेट कर रहे हैं। तो राइट आंसर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन विल बी, तुम बताओ, ऑप्शन 2 है ना,
Yes,
डायकाइनेसिस।
sir.
इकोलॉजी से प्रोडक्टिविटी, प्रोडक्टिविटी हम मेजर कर सकते हैं ग्राम टू द पावर -2 ईयर टू द पावर -1, या एनर्जी किलो कैलोरी पर ग्राम टू द पावर -2 ईयर टू द पावर -1। तो ये प्रोडक्टिविटी 2 के साथ जाएगा। एनुअल इन पीपी, इट इज मेंशन्ड इन द बुक बायोडाइवर्सिटी that annual NPP is 170 billion tons। NPP का मतलब है नेट प्राइमरी प्रोडक्टिविटी, इससे 90% खर्च हो जाता है, तब जाके ग्रॉस प्राइमरी प्रोडक्टिविटी बनते हैं। प्राइमरी प्रोडक्टिविटी हम ग्राम में एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं, और प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ ओशन इज 4 लाइक 55 बिलियन टन्स। ये भी डेटा गिवन है बुक में। प्राइमरी प्रोडक्टिविटी इज जनरली एक्सप्रेस्ड इन ग्राम, दैट मीन सॉरी नॉट प्रोडक्टिविटी, प्रोडक्टिविटी तो रेट होता है, प्रोडक्शन इज expressed in gram, and productivity is gram per year, क्योंकि रेट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन। तो ये सब कुछ मिला के हमको ऑप्शन नंबर 4 आ रहे हैं, देख लो। क्वेश्चन नंबर 126 में जाए।
हाँ,
छोटा क्वेश्चन देखने के बाद खुश हो गया मन, फिर भी देखते हैं। छोटा क्वेश्चन भी ट्विस्ट होता है इसके अंदर। इंक्लूजन बॉडीज ऑफ द ब्लू, ग्रीन, पर्पल एंड ग्रीन फोटोसिंथेटिक बैक्टीरिया, ये रटने वाला बुक से डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन, यानी कि इंक्लूजन बॉडीज जो है जिसके अंदर मतलब,
yeah,
हाँ हाँ, गैस वैक्यूल्स, गैस वैक्यूल, सेंट्रियोल्स तो नहीं होगा, बैक्टीरिया है। माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स भी नहीं होगा, क्योंकि वो तो यूकैरियोट का फीचर है। माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स जो कॉन्ट्रैक्शन रिलैक्सेशन यानी कि माइक्रोफिलामेंट्स, ये सब कुछ माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स माइक्रोफिलामेंट, ये जो साइटोस्केलेटन तो यूकैरियोटिक सेल में होता है। सेंट्रियोल्स, सेंट्रोसोम, वो भी कॉन्ट्रैक्टाइल वैक्यूल द एमीबा, वो भी यूकैरियोट है। गैस वैक्यूल्स इसके अंदर मौजूद रहता है, मतलब सारे के सारे जो स्टोरेज मटेरियल्स होगा, ये कार्बोहाइड्रेट होगा या जो भी ये पर्पल एंड ग्रीन फोटोसिंथेटिक बैक्टीरिया यानी कि ब्लू ग्रीन एल्गी साइनोफाइसी में साइनोफाइशियन जो ग्रैन्यूल्स होता है वो उसके अंदर मौजूद होता है। तो डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन गैस वैक्यूल। आगे बढ़ते हैं, एक मिनट। पेरिकार्ड, ड्रूप जो होता है ना मॉर्फोलॉजी में, मैंगो, कोकोनट, उसमें क्या है, बाहर जो हार्ड कवरिंग होता है दैट इज एपीकार्ड, मिडल वाला मेसोकार्ड, अंदर वाला इंडोकार्ड, तीनों को मिला के पेरिकार्ड। So the wall of the fruit is known as pericarp. Ovary wall, पेरिस्पर्म क्या होता है, जो न्यूसिलस जो जहाँ पे मतलब रह जाता है, रेमनेंट हो जाता है, रेमनेंट मतलब रह जाता है, परसिस्टेंट न्यूसिलस, तो हम उसको पेरिस्पर्म कह सकते हैं। एल्बुमिनस सेल्स का मतलब जहाँ पे एंडोस्पर्म मौजूद है, पूरा खाने मतलब यूटिलाइज नहीं हो गया। नॉन एल्बुमिनस का मतलब एंडोस्पर्म यहाँ पे खर्च हो नहीं है। जनरली डाइकॉट में ऐसा होता है, पूरा खा लेता है। तो ऑप्शन क्या होगा, करेक्ट ऑप्शन देख के बताओ, कर तो दिया। पेरिस्पर्म,
ऑप्शन 3।
मतलब बी वन के साथ, हाँ, ए किसके साथ, 127, फिर मैच क्लासिफिकेशन से मैच किया, करने दिया हम लोग। यूनिसेल्युलर एल्गी, यूनिसेल्युलर एल्गी कौन है, यूलोथ्रिक्स, क्लामाइडोमोनास, filamentous algae with flagellated gametes, हाँ, filamentous algae with flagellated gametes, that is यूलोथ्रिक्स। ये filamentous है और इसका गैमेट फ्लैजिलेटेड। filamentous algae with non-motile gametes, पायरोगाइटा,
स्पाइरो।
जहाँ पे गैमेट्स मोटाइल नहीं है, कॉलोनियल एल्गीज। तो
होलो।
हाँ, यूनिसेल्युलर एल्गी इज क्लामाइडोमोनास, क्लोरोफाइसी। देन फिलामेंटस एल्गी, जहाँ पे सेल्स बहुत है लेकिन वो फिलामेंटस है, दैट इज यूलोथ्रिक्स। स्पाइरोगाइडा, ये भी फिलामेंटस है लेकिन इसके मैच कौन सा, मतलब नॉन मोटाइल गैमेट्स। फिलामेंटस एल्गी विद फ्लैजिलेटेड गैमेट्स, मतलब जहाँ पे गैमेट्स मोटाइल है वो यूलोथ्रिक्स है, और स्पाइरोगाइडा भी फिलामेंटस है जहाँ पे नॉन मोटाइल गैमेट्स है, और कॉलोनियल तो वॉलवॉक्स में है। तो करेक्ट आंसर कौन होगा,
ऑप्शन 3।
चलो नेक्स्ट। एंटीरिनम species when two pink F1 pink flowers were crossed with each other, F2 generations were produced, 40 red, 80 pink and 40 white। हाँ, तो 1:2:1, This is a case of incomplete dominance. Yes. In case of Antirrhinum majus, dog flower, Mirabilis jalapa, where we can find the F1 is showing not dominance, because capital R, small r, in case of Mendel it would have been red, but here it is pink, so it is a case of incomplete dominance, right?
Yes, sir.
Next, moving on to question number 130. So floral formula, floral diagram is given, and they are asking which one, which family. And Leguminaceae, Brassicaceae, Malvaceae, where you can see that how many these things are present. 1, 2, 3. Leguminaceae is, you know, that Papillonaceae. It is not a papillonaceous corolla, because that will be Fabaceae. Is going to have that vexillum or standard. So Gramini may be SNE. Brassicaceae 130. It will be the condition of Brassica nigra. Sometimes you find replum appears over here. So it is the correct answer for this question is Brassicaceae. So this is the floral formula of Brassicaceae, floral diagram of Brassicaceae.
Okay, sir.
We have to match the list, like again. Prophase. Prophase. Okay. Spindle fibers get connected to kinetochore. Spindle fibers gets connected to kinetochore. That is metaphasic event. Initiation of condensation of chromosomal material. So prophase will go with initiation of condensation of chromosomal materials. Then metaphase. Spindle fibers get connected to kinetochore. Anaphase, that is yeah. Anaphase, centromeres of the chromosome lie towards the pole while the arms trail behind. The centromeres of the chromosome lie towards the pole and the arms trail behind. This will be for anaphase. And telophase, nucleolus, Golgi, ER are reformed. So now you just see which will be the correct. So 3 is correct.
Option 3.
Which one
Option 3.
is the correct answer? So moving on to the next question, but before that you tell me which is filamentous algae with motile gamete.
Filamentous algae
Hmm.
with motile gamete. Meiosis,
And non-motile gamete.
non-motile gamete বলবো Spirogyra.
Very good. From the statements video, choose the correct option. Conjoined closed vascular bundle causes cambium. No, closed bataya, so cambium absent. Because it is writing closed, cambium will be absent. In open vascular bundle, cambium is present. How are correct? In roots, xylem and phloem in a vascular bundles are arranged in alternate manner. That is why it is radial. Alternate manner along different radii. Correct. In monocot root, usually there are more than 6 xylem bundles present. Xylem bundles present. The vascular xylem भी है, phloem भी होगा. In vascular bundle of dicot stem causes exarch. स्टेम में एक्सार्च कैसे? रूट में तो एक्सार्च होना है ना. एक्सार्च का मतलब क्या? मेटाजाइलम टुवर्ड्स द पिथ एंड प्रोटोजाइलम टुवर्ड्स द पेरिसाइकल. बट एक्सार्च तो नहीं होगा, वो रूट में होता है, इन डार्क होता है, तो ये नहीं होगा. तो बी, सी एंड डी एंड 4 करेक्ट. ये ऑप्शन करेक्ट है. ऑप्शन नंबर 4 इज करेक्ट.
Okay.
Question number 33, 133. With scientific discipline from the foundation of reductionist biology. Disciplines forms of that means if we reduce and study, then what we have to do? Botany, zoology. We have to go up to the level of physics and chemistry. Just think about, we are studying cell. If we break the cell and make it analyze, what we have to do? We have to do chemistry. That means we are studying the organic molecules like macromolecule, micromolecule. Then we are analyzing proteins, carbohydrate, lipid, and then we are coming to amino acids, then monosaccharides. So what are these? These are chemistry. And also how they are coiled, like starch is spirally arranged. There are some helices within it which can retain stain. So all these things are part of physics and chemistry. That is reductional biology, using as a part of biology so we can understand the biological structure. So the right answer for this question is option C. To analyze something, we have to go up to the level of molecule. When we are studying molecules, we are doing molecular calculation. So these are part of chemistry. And also like yes, isomer in the carbohydrate, epimer. In case of protein also, peptide bond, how the protein they fold, what are the chemical interaction, hydrogen bond interaction, hydrophobic, hydrophilic. So all these are chemistry, and in which plane they are folding. Understood?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Next we move on to the next question. Again maths. Human genome. Here again it is some theoretical question. Human genome will match with 3164.7 millions. SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism, it will go with 1.4 millions. PNTR, these are the repetitive sequence, it will go with 2, 0.1 to 20 kb, and this is going with Ecoli, that is 4.6 into 10 to the power 6 base pair. So it will be option 2. ये डेटाबेस क्वेश्चन था, एक बार देख लो, लिख लो. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Select the correct statement about biodiversity. The desert area of Rajasthan and Gujarat have a high level of desert animal species as well as numerous rare animals. The large-scale planting of Bt cotton has no adverse effect on biodiversity. It has definitely effect because it is not a natural product. It is a Bt cotton, that means genetically modified. Western Ghat have very high degree of species richness and endemism than Eastern Ghat. It is correct. You have to remember Western Ghat Western Ghat have very high level of degree of species richness than Eastern Ghat. This is correct answer. And conservation of biodiversity is just a first pursued by the development of countries. No. Conservation of biodiversity is just fast pursued by the developed countries. Yes, conservation of biodiversity is just a fast pursuit by the developed countries. No, it is not pursued by the developed countries. Already it was there. So Western Ghat have high biodiversity or the species richness and endemism. It will be correct answer. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay.
up to here today we have discussed. Next day we will come up with more questions. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.